Beneath the towering trees of Nongi's ancient forest, something stirs. The fireflies, usually a symbol of beauty, flicker inconsistently, casting a strange glow across the darkened woods. Mboli, her heart racing, senses the change. It's as though the air itself is alive with a presence that watches her every move. Somewhere in the shadows, something alarming is growing stronger. Jabari, the quiet hunter with a haunted past, knows the danger well. His keen eyes have seen things others cannot understand. He thought the village would be a place of peace, a fresh start from the memories that afflict him. But now, in Molly's company, he has uncovered something far deeper. The forest holds secrets. And with each passing night, they seem to draw closer. The village drums, once a common rhythm of daily life, have begun to change. Their steady beat now grows louder, more terrified, echoing through the mountains like a call to arms. The villagers feel it too. They speak in silent voices of an old curse, a tale many had long forgotten, until now. Strange things are happening, and all signs point toward Molly. As the storm clouds gather overhead, Molly and Jabari meet in secret once more. The air between them is electric, charged with fear and something more powerful, love. But the bond they share is forbidden, and with every moment they spend together, the danger grows. Molly's powers are awakening. And with them, the darkness in the forest stirs. A voice calls out from the depth of the woods, low, ancient, and filled with hatred. It whispers her name, warning her of the price she must pay. The fireflies scatter within a twinkle of an eye, lighting up the sky like a warning sign. Something is coming for them. Something unstoppable. Nia, the spirit that once walked among the villagers, now lay in wait in the shadows, bound by her jealousy and the curse that condemned her. Her wrath is not only aimed at Molly's powers but at the love that threatens to tear apart the fragile balance of the village's traditions. The rules were clear: gifted seers cannot love outsiders. But Molly has broken them. Thunder cracks in the distance as the rain begins to fall. The storm is fierce, almost as if nature itself is responding to the dark magic that swells within the forest. Jabari urges Molly to leave, to abandon the village before it's too late, but she knows they are beyond the point of no return. There is only one way to end this. As time is running out, will love be enough to defeat the darkness that looms over them? Or will the curse claim another victim, as it did long ago? As the villagers huddle by their fires, listening to the beat of the drums, they can only wonder, will Molly and Jabari return, or will the spirit of the forest take them both? In a faraway land, there was a village named Nongi. This village was hidden between tall green mountains and sparkling waterfalls. The sky would turn beautiful shades of pink and orange every evening. The people in Nongi lived happily, surrounded by nature's beauty, and they took care of one another, but this village had secrets. There were old traditions and whispers of a mysterious curse. The people of Nongi were kind, but deep down, they were also afraid of something ancient that they did not fully understand. In Nongi, there was a girl named Molly. She was different from everyone else because she had a special gift called the sight. Molly could see things that others could not. Like glimpses of the future or things hidden from the eyes of normal people. She also had the power to heal others. Even though Molly was loved by everyone for her powers, she sometimes felt lonely. She lived in a small hut near the forest, far from the village center, and often kept to herself. Molly knew she was different, and it made her feel apart from the rest of the villagers, one day, a stranger named Jabari came to Nongi. He was a hunter with sad eyes and a mysterious past. Jabari had lost his family many years ago, and ever since then, he had wandered from place to place, carrying the weight of his sorrow with him. Jabari was strong and brave, but also kind and gentle. The people of Nongi welcomed him into their village, and he built a small house on the edge of the village. Despite his quiet nature, Jabari soon became a part of village life, though his sadness never really left him. One night, the sky was full of stars, and the air was warm. The fireflies came out to dance, filling the night with their tiny glowing lights. Mboli loved watching the fireflies, and she decided to go into the forest to see them up close. As she walked deeper into the forest, she saw Jabari standing there, also watching the fireflies. When their eyes met, they both felt something magical. It was as if they had known each other for a long time, even though they had just met. From that night on, Mboli and Jabari began to meet in secret. Every evening, when the villagers were busy with their own lives, Mboli and Jabari would sneak away to the forest to be together. They talked about their lives, their dreams, and the things that made them different from everyone else. Jabari helped Mboli gather herbs for her healing, and Mboli listened to Jabari's stories about his travels. They laughed and grew closer with each passing day. Even though they knew they were breaking the village rules by being together, in Nongi, there was a strict rule that said a gifted seer like Mboli could not marry a stranger from outside the village. Mboli and Jabari knew they were not allowed to be together, but they couldn't help it. They were drawn to each other like the fireflies to the light. The more time they spent together, the more they realized how much they cared for each other. But they also knew they had to be careful. If the village elders found out about their secret meetings, there would be trouble. Unknowingly to Mboli and Jabari, they were being watched. In the shadows of the forest, a dark spirit lurked. This spirit was called Nia. And she had once been like Mboli, a seer with special powers. But Nia had broken the rules of the village long ago, and a terrible curse had been placed upon her. Now, Nia was trapped in the forest as an angry and jealous spirit. She watched Mboli and Jabari with envy, hating their happiness. Nia's heart was filled with bitterness because she had lost everything, and she didn't want Mboli to succeed where she had failed. One night, while Mboli and Jabari were together in the forest, they heard a strange noise. The fireflies suddenly flew away, and the air turned cold. They felt something was watching them. Then, from the darkness, Nia appeared. Nia, the jealous spirit, warned them to stop meeting. She whispered that if they didn't, something terrible would happen to both of them and the entire village. Her voice was full of anger, and Mboli and Jabari were frightened, but they didn't want to stop seeing each other. That night, as Mboli and Jabari returned to the village, they heard the sound of the drums. The village had a tradition of playing drums every night, telling stories of the past and connecting the people to their ancestors. But that night, the drums sounded different, louder and faster, as if they were warning of danger. Mboli and Jabari knew that Nia's warning was real. Something bad was coming, and they had to find a way to stop it. But they didn't know how, and the village elders wouldn't believe them if they tried to explain. As the days passed, the sky grew darker, and the wind became stronger. The villagers could feel that a storm was coming. The monsoon rains would soon arrive, and everyone was busy preparing for the floodwaters that came with them, but Mboli and Jabari had something more important on their minds. They were worried about the curse that Nia had spoken about. They needed to find a way to break the curse and stop the spirit before it was too late. The rains began, and they didn't stop. Day after day, the storm raged, with heavy rain pouring down and strong winds shaking the trees. The village was flooded, and water entered people's homes. The villagers were scared and didn't know what to do. Mboli knew that this was no ordinary storm. It was the curse that Nia had warned them about. She remembered her grandmother's stories about ancient secrets and powerful spirits. There had to be a way to stop the curse, and Molly was determined to find it. Molly ran to her small hut near the forest and found an old book that her grandmother had given her. This book was filled with ancient spells and stories about powerful spirits. Mboli hoped that somewhere in its pages, she would find the answer to breaking the curse. She quickly went to Jabari, and together they read through the book. They discovered that to stop the curse, they needed to gather special herbs from a faraway forest and perform a spell under the light of the full moon. But the full moon was only a few days away, and they had to act quickly. Molly and Jabari gathered their foodstuffs, herbs and supplies they needed and set off on a dangerous journey to find the special plant. The forest they needed to enter was far away, and they had little time before the full moon. The journey would be difficult, but they knew they had no choice. As they traveled through the forest, they felt the presence of Nia following them. The spirit was angry and didn't want them to succeed. Every step of the way, she tried to scare them and make them turn back. But Molly and Jabari were determined to break the curse and save their village. The deeper they went into the forest, the darker and scarier it became. The trees were tall, and strange noises filled the air. Mboli and Jabari held hands as they searched for the special herbs they needed. They knew they were running out of time. Despite their fear, they found the herbs growing near a stream in the heart of the forest. But just as they were about to gather them, Nia appeared, angrier than ever. She warned them one last time to stop, or they would face a terrible fate. Mboli and Jabari were scared, but they knew they couldn't stop now. They had come too far, and the village was counting on them. So, despite Nia's warnings, they gathered the herbs and prepared to perform the spell. They knew the spell would be dangerous, especially with Nia watching their every move. But they believed in their love and their courage. Together, they decided to face whatever would come next. With the special herbs in hand, Mboli and Jabari returned to the village. They knew the full moon was only a day away, and they had to be ready. They gathered everything they needed for the spell and went back to the clearing in the forest where the fireflies danced that night. They set up the herbs and made all the preparations for the ritual. The sky was clear, and the moon was bright, but they could feel Nia's presence in the shadows. The spirit was waiting, ready to stop them from breaking the curse. The full moon rose high in the sky, and the forest was quiet except for the sound of the drums from the village. Mboli and Jabari stood together in the clearing, ready to perform the spell. The fireflies danced around them, lighting up the night. As they began the spell, Nia appeared, more furious than ever. She attacked them with all her strength, trying to stop them. The air grew cold, and the wind howled. Mboli tried to fight her back but realized Nia was very strong, so Mboli and Jabari held on to each other. Their love giving them the courage to keep going. Nia's attacks grew stronger as the spell continued. She was determined to separate Mboli and Jabari, and she used all her powers to try and break them apart. The wind whipped around them, and the ground shook beneath their feet, but Mboli and Jabari stayed strong. They knew that their love was their greatest weapon, and they refused to give up. They held hands tightly, refusing to let the spirit tear them apart. As the battle with Nia raged on, Mboli used her healing powers to protect them. Jabari fought bravely, using all his strength to keep Nia at bay. Together, they were a powerful team, and their love shone bright like the fireflies around them. Nia's attacks grew weaker as she realized that she could not defeat them. The power of their love was too strong, and she began to lose her hold on the curse. After the spell was completed, Bolly and Jabari knew they had one final task to break the curse completely. They had to climb to the top of the mountain and uproot a special flower that would end Nia's power once and for all. The climb was difficult, with the wind and rain making it even harder. Nia's spirit followed them, trying to stop them one last time. But Bolly and Jabari were determined to finish what they had started. At the top of the mountain, they found the flower they needed. Nia appeared, desperate to stop them. She attacked with all her remaining strength, but Bolly and Jabari worked together to fight her off. With a burst of light, they uprooted the flower, and Nia screamed in fury. The spirit's power was broken, and she disappeared into the wind, never to return again. As Nia's spirit vanished, the storm stopped, and the sky cleared. The fireflies danced joyfully, and the village drums played a victorious rhythm. Bolly and Jabari had broken the curse, and the village of Nongi was safe once more. The villagers, who had been hiding from the storm, came out to see what had happened. When they learned what Bolly and Jabari had done, they were filled with gratitude and joy. The next day, the village celebrated Bolly and Jabari as heroes. They were no longer bound by the old rules that had kept them apart. The people of Nongi realized that love was stronger than any curse, and they changed their ways. Bolly and Jabari's love story was told for generations, and the fireflies became a symbol of hope and courage for the village. Bolly and Jabari continued to live in Nongi, helping the villagers with their gifts. They taught everyone about the power of love and the importance of courage in the face of fear. The village thrived, and the people grew closer than ever before. The drums that once warned of danger now played happy rhythms, and the fireflies danced freely every night, lighting up the sky with their gentle glow. Bolly and Jabari's love only grew stronger as the years went by. They showed that even in the darkest times, love could light the way. The village of Nongi remained a place of peace, joy, and magic, where the story of Bolly and Jabari was passed down from one generation to the next. And so, in the village hidden between the mountains and waterfalls, love, hope, and happiness lived on forever. Lesson 1: True love overcomes all obstacles. No matter how big the challenge or how dark the storm, love has the power to overcome it. Bolly and Jabari's love for each other gave them the strength to face the spirit, even when it was terrifying and dangerous. Their bond was stronger than the curse. Lesson 2: It's important to face your fears. Bolly and Jabari knew that the spirit was powerful and that breaking the curse would be difficult, but they didn't run away. Instead, they confronted the danger head-on because they believed they could make things right. Sometimes, things can seem scary or impossible, but when you face your fears, you grow stronger, and you might find a solution you didn't expect. Lesson 3: Respect old wisdom and tradition, but think for yourself. The village had old rules about who could marry who and how the gifted should live. Bolly and Jabari knew these traditions but followed their hearts instead. At the same time, they used the ancient wisdom from Bolly's grandmother's book to break the curse. In general, it's important to respect traditions, but it's also important to think for yourself and follow what feels right in your heart. Bolly respected her grandmother's teachings, but she also found her own path to happiness.